As we take over from Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid, I've got myself 2 real tasks that I want to complete. Task number 1 is to try and clear out some of the ageing players that are playing for Real Madrid. You like your Modric, your Toni Kroos, players like that. I don't know how well it's going to go, but we're going to give it a try. I'm not even fussed about how much money we get for them because, to be honest, we should be good enough without having some of those players in the squad anyway. And objective number 2 is win all of these. Win the Spanish First Division, win the Champions League, win the Copa del Rey, and win the Spanish Super Cup. Don't know how likely it's going to be. If I can win 2 of them, arguably League and Champions League is what I'm after. Maybe Spanish Cup and the League, I'll take that. Super Cup, I feel like, isn't really much. So looking at the squad, I've kind of got a list of anyone who's 30 or older that are sort of on that list of players that I might look to shift on. However, some of them are very good. Like your Alabas, like your Rudigers are very good. Maybe we don't do that. Courtois, he's a goalkeeper at 31. Maybe we keep him. Carvajal as well. Probably Vasquez upwards. I think might be on their way out. Joselu's on loan, so we're not too fussed about him. Well, we've made it to the 2nd of September, and as you can see from the league table, things have started pretty well, but we will get to that in just a moment. Let's talk about transfers. How successful was I at clearing out some of the older players? Not terrible. We have got rid of Luka Modric, which is obviously, when you look at his technicals and his mental ability there, it might have been a terrible decision, but he is 37. He's soon to be 38. He's gone to Liverpool, obviously, for £4.5 million? £4.8 million. Not a lot of money, but I'm hoping it's not going to make too much of a difference for us, because we've got players like Bellingham. We've also managed to move on Lucas Vazquez, now 32 years of age. He's moved over to Chelsea for, I think, £9 million, which actually seems like a sensible amount of money. He's not particularly great anyway. £9 million, we're going to reinvest. We've also managed to sell youngster Peter over to PSG for what I consider to be absolute insane money. £6.5 million up front, but potentially going to nearly £12 million. We were never going to play him. But maybe somebody who we were going to play, who obviously we're now no longer going to play, is Brahim Diaz. The former Man City man has moved over to Bayern Munich for £18.5 million. It's not a huge amount of money, but when you look his last 3 years, he's actually been out on loan, so Real Madrid fans probably don't even know he's there. Joining the club then, this one might not go down too well, is David De Gea. Atletico Madrid fans look away now. He has returned to Madrid, but gone to the white side of Madrid. Obviously, free transfer. He's come in as a backup, and he's injured already. It's great. We've also signed Pascal Struijk from Leeds. Now, hear me out. I want to try and bring in some younger players, some players with a bit of potential, but also a bit of ability. Struijk, I think, is kind of there, right? He's got some potential, he's got some ability. He's probably cost a little bit too much for a championship player at £25 million, but he has scored a goal already in his first 3 games. Somebody who we probably overpaid for, and arguably didn't need, is Calvin Phillips. We've spent £48 million on the Man City man. He is, once again, he's also played 3 games for us so far. He's good. He's just going to play as a defensive midfielder. We've got plenty of options now in that central midfield, which we'll come to in just a minute. But Calvin Phillips, I don't think it's a terrible signing. Probably a little bit on the steep side. And this one was for depth, okay? Not really planning on doing a huge amount with Cole Palmer. We've loaned him in from Chelsea until the end of the season. He's not costing us much at all. Probably won't even get a huge amount of game time anyway. So from a squad perspective, this is what we look like at the start of the season. You can see there we've got 4 players locked in to the starting 11, which might change as the season goes on, but that is the plan currently. Obviously, with the transfer window closed, it does mean that some players who I was hoping to get rid of, like your Nachos and your Toni Krooses, it's obviously not going to happen. I have noticed Vinny Jr., he's out of contract at the end of the season, and he doesn't want to sign a new one at the moment, which I guess isn't a problem because we're only doing 1 season with Real Madrid. But I still kind of want him to sign a new deal because it feels a bit cheaty to not bother doing that. And from a results perspective, things started off ridiculously well. An 8-0 win against Villarreal. Goals from Vinny Jr. with 2. Struijk scoring, Camavinga scoring, David Alaba from the penalty spot, Jude Bellingham and even Nacho getting on the score sheet. I assume Villarreal, not very good. We also beat Girona 3-1, team who are, I believe, currently at this point in time, when I'm recording at the very least, top of the league in real life, which is nuts. Carvajal, Rudiger and Nacho in this one, and then Joselu with the only goal against Celta Vigo. In the Champions League, if we do a quick filter, we've got Feyenoord, Union Berlin and RB Salzburg, which I assume we should go through this without any problems at all. We are easily better than all 3 of those sides. This is what the table looks like then on the 2nd of September. Top of the pile, 11 goal difference in the positive. Barcelona and Getafe joint on points, but it's not. It's too early to really care too much about the league table. We're going to jump all the way forward now to the 1st of January, or the start of the January transfer window. and we're going to see how we've got on over the first, 3 months of the season. So looking at the competitions then, we are second in the league. A long, long way behind Barcelona. 13 points behind Barcelona by the looks of it. We have also managed to get ourselves out of the Champions League group stages into the quarterfinals at the moment. Inter Milan will be our opponents. We are going to be entering the Spanish Cup at some point. I assume we're not in that just yet. And then the Spanish Super Cup as well, which actually takes place 100% within January. And I believe the final is in Saudi Arabia. The whole thing might even be in Saudi Arabia. So looking at the results, you can kind of see some good results, some bad results in there. We didn't have a particularly great September, did we? A 0-0 draw against Mallorca and then a 3-2 defeat against Barcelona and then a 2-0 defeat against Alaves. That was not a good few weeks for us there. And then just before the January transfer window swings open, Sevilla and Atletico Madrid also beating us in the Madrid derby. Can't imagine the fans are too pleased with that. In the Champions League, we won everything. We beat Union Berlin, Feyenoord and Salzburg comfortably, although we are conceding a fair amount of goals. But what I think we need to do for January, we've got £124 million to spend, which is fairly steep, is we need a goal scorer. And I know what you're thinking, we've got a goal scorer, but the formation that we play doesn't really lend us to a huge amount of goals from our best players. So we've got Vinny Jr. and Rodrigo that kind of play on either wing. Joselu is our lead striker on loan from Espanyol, and he's not it, is he? He's 33 years of age now, soon to be 34. So I think we're going to cancel his loan deal and try and bring in somebody better to replace him, and hopefully somebody who can get into double figures, because so far not a single player of ours has got into double figures. Bellingham's got 8 though, which is quite impressive. Pascal Stroik's even got 3. Alongside buying a goalkeeper as well, we are going to continue our quest to try and clear out some of the old guards. So Nacho might be on the chopping block. Maybe Carvajal, maybe Alaba. Probably not Alaba. Tony Cruz, I'm almost certain we're going to get rid of Tony Cruz. Might be a loan deal, because I feel like not a huge amount of teams will want to pay for Tony Cruz, but he's only got 6 months left on his contract. I just want to get some of that wages gone. Some things have happened in January. First, we're going to talk about the transfers. So, Dani Ceballos is the first of 2 real players to leave the club on deals. He has moved over to Napoli for some money, £5.5 million. He wasn't playing for us. I say wasn't. Did he? It says he got 30 appearances, but that was last season. He wasn't playing for us, so we've moved him on. He's gone to Napoli. And the only other one is Tony Cruz, who has left the club on a loan deal. He's gone over to England to sign for Chelsea. I can't remember whether we're paying his wages. I feel like they're paying some. They're paying a bit of his wages. Probably not a lot of his wages. Arguably, we wanted more paid. Joining the club then, for £3.7 million, Ismaila Koulibaly from Sheffield United. He's one for the future. Fully aware this is a 1-year save, but I just can't help myself for some reason. Next up is a Croatian player who's kind of here to give ourselves a little bit more depth in central defence. He's not particularly amazing, but he's just there. He's another name. It is Smolcic, could be his name. He's come in from Frankfurt. He's cost £7.25 million. Might be a bit steep. And I know what you're thinking. You wanted a goal scorer. Well, here he is. Maybe it's Talisca. He's now 30 years old. Goes completely against what I was trying to do, which was not sign old people. Although, in my defence, when I signed him, he was 29. He's turned 30 yesterday in game. Previously at Al Nassr in obviously Saudi Arabia, playing with Cristiano Ronaldo. Bought him in on a free. He's already played 3 times. Scored a goal for us as well. So I think maybe we have got some goals in Talisca. Or maybe we've got some goals in this man. For £86 million, which is his minimum fee release, Victor Osimhen has joined from Napoli, and he's already not playing for us because he's out of the African Cup of Nations, which is a pain, really, isn't it? It's quite frustrating. So Osimhen's in, but we can't play him maybe until midway through February, which kind of sucks. But I mean, Osimhen, he's good. He's just good. You know what you get with him. I'm hoping we get maybe 15 goals out of him between now and the end of the season. And speaking of what is going on this season, league table-wise, we are still way behind Barcelona, although we are slightly closer. It is now 11-point gap. We are we're into the Champions League round of 16. We already knew that. We're into the Spanish Cup quarterfinals against Barcelona, and we have also won the Spanish Super Cup, where we beat Barcelona in the final. I have noticed that the board don't care for these two. Of all the competitions we're in, I think these two are the ones we're more likely to win. So, results-wise, throughout January, we've actually done very well. And Ronald Araujo from Barcelona has also helped us out massively, which we'll get to in a minute. We beat Girona 3-0. We beat Villarreal 2-1. We beat Atletico Madrid in the semi-final. We beat Barcelona in the Super Cup final, which all of these were played in Saudi Arabia because, money, everyone loves it. Araujo scoring an own goal in that one, which was lovely. We then drew with Barcelona in the league. Araujo scoring an own goal in that one as well, which was lovely. We beat Castellón 6-0 in the Spanish Cup third round. We beat Vigo 5-1. We beat Tenerife with Talisca actually scoring a few more goals. He's got 2 goals in the Spanish Cup and 1 goal in the league at the moment. So Talisca actually, for a free transfer, doesn't sound particularly bad. A little bit of housekeeping as well. We've had to do a little tweak to our starting 11. We're obviously only picking certain players who are going to be forced to play in the starting 11. We've dropped Phillips, not because he's bad, but because Tchouameni is good and is moaning that he's not playing any games. So Tchouameni has come in for Phillips. It's going to be Camavinga and Tchouameni in the middle. Bellingham and obviously Osman leading the line when he comes back from playing in Africa. I assume that's where he is. And in case you're wondering, yep, he's got 4 months left on his contract and he still won't sign a new one. It's kind of annoying. So objectives then, between now and I guess the end of the season, is we still want to try and win the league, but I feel like that is now out of the question. We're too far behind Barcelona. Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, there's too much of a gap there as well. I feel like we're finishing second. Champions League is probably a pipe dream, but maybe, just maybe. And then the Spanish Cup as well. I feel like we could win that. If we can get past Barcelona, some of the other teams left in this, Almeria, Real Betis, Valencia, and I can't even remember who that is. Who is that? Is it Alaves? It's not Alaves. I don't even know who that is. Osasuna? Maybe it's Osasuna. The teams that are left in, basically, we are good. We're better than most of them. It's only Atletico Madrid and Barcelona I feel like could trip us up there. And obviously we won the Spanish Cup. So maybe we win. Also, we won the Spanish Super Cup. Maybe we win the Copa del Rey. Maybe we win the Champions League. It's a big ask, isn't it? It's a big ask, but maybe we win the Champions League. And second in the league, I'd take that. I feel like anyone would take winning the Champions League and maybe finishing 16th, I'd take that. So we now have just 5 league games left of the season and maybe 2 more matches to play as well in the Champions League. As you can see from the league table on the left-hand side, we are second. We are not going to catch Barcelona, although technically, mathematically, it's still possible. It is, 5, 6, 7, 8 points difference. I feel like Barcelona are going to win the league. We are 0-0 after the first leg in the Champions League semi-final with Manchester City. If we can win that, we'll be in a final against PSG or Newcastle. We have won the Copa del Rey, which we will get to in a minute, and obviously from earlier, we won the Spanish Cup. So, what has gone on? What's gone on is we've actually gone pretty much undefeated, and by pretty much, we have gone undefeated in the league. The only blip is a 1-1 draw there with Valencia. That is it. We've beaten Barcelona in the Spanish Cup quarter-final, as we know, because we won the thing. We beat Atletico Madrid in the semi-final and lost in the semi-final, but it doesn't matter because we then beat Valencia in the final thanks to Rodrigo and Osman in the Champions League, getting past Inter Milan. We also managed to get past Arsenal thanks to an absolute battering in the first leg. 5-1, Bellingham, Carvajal, Rudiger, Rodrigo and Osman on the score sheet. It's good to see Osman scoring some goals, scoring 3 against Cadiz. It does kind of frustrate me that we got so close yet so far from actually winning the league. And we could, in theory, win a treble. We could, in theory, win a quadruple. It's not going to happen, but we could, assuming Barcelona never win a football match ever again. We've got 5 games left to play, 6 if you include Man City. If we beat Man City, we have a Champions League final. And just taking a look at the squad, this is basically what we've been playing in terms of forced players. So Struijk has played 52 appearances so far, 4 goals, 3 assists, not massive. Camavinga has got 49 appearances, 9 goals, 15 assists is huge. We've got, for Bellingham, 12 goals and 8 assists. Tchouameni, obviously not played the whole season, 3 goals and 4 assists to his name as well. We've got a lot of players, actually, who seems to be playing fairly consistently. Nacho's leaving, going to Inter Milan. I did sort that out over the January, because his contract's up. That's kind of when that happened. I think we've done quite well. I mean, look at the fact that Kelvin Phillips, no, he said Kevin Phillips then, has got 10 assists from defensive midfield. I'm pretty happy with that. We've got Rodrigo with 17 goals, 15 assists. Where's Osman? Osman's down there with 17 goals in 19 starts. What? 12 league goals in 10 starts? 6 in 11 Champions League games, I assume, mostly for us. I assume they're all for us, actually. I mean, Osman's been a good signing, right? 21 goals and 25 starts in all competitions. We're going to jump forward to the end of the season, which I think might be before the Champions League final, assuming we get there. we're going to finish second. So there is confirmation of finishing second place in the table. What is that? 11 points behind Barcelona, who are crowned champions. They lost twice all season. That is mad. However, we are in the Champions League final against PSG. That's mad, right? I was not expecting us to actually get to the final. I was thinking maybe semi-final is where we might get knocked out, maybe even quarter-final. But to get to the final, to have a chance to win it, that's okay. I'm weirdly optimistic. We could win the treble. Although, do these two count? I guess the Copa del Rey counts. Does the Spanish Cup count? Super Cup count? I keep calling it the Spanish Cup. So how do we get to the final then? It was a 1-1 draw at home at the Bernabeu. An 86th-minute equaliser from Osimhen after a Haaland penalty. Erling Haaland then misses a penalty in the shootout for us to win, I assume 5-3? Because we scored the 5th goal and that basically meant nothing could happen beyond that point. In the league, we actually lost a game against Atletico Madrid. Not ideal. We've got a bit of confidence, though, hopefully going into the final at Wembley Stadium after a 4-1 win against Sevilla at the Bernabeu. We're going to go forward then to the other side of the Champions League final, and hopefully we can actually win the Champions League. I was not expecting this to happen. Right, there's no giveaways on here, I don't think. We're just going to click competitions and see what happens. What happened? Runner-up. Runner-up in the Champions League final. What happened? What happened in the final? Penalties. We lost on penalties. A 1-1 draw. Rodrigo opened the scoring. Kolo Muani equalised for PSG. Jude Bellingham. Bellingham missed the opening penalty at Wembley Stadium. And we lose on penalties against PSG. Even Calvin Phillips gets on the score sheet. Oh, how annoying is that? So on paper, I'd say that's a good season, right? However, I don't think it is for the board. So the board are giving me a C. They're satisfied. Because we've done all right in the Champions League. They're very disappointed that I haven't signed players under the age of 21 for the first team. And they're very disappointed, or I failed to win the first division. In my defence, Barcelona are ridiculous. Supporters absolutely hate me. So the supporters hate me because they want me to finish above Barcelona in the league, and they're satisfied. Because I didn't. The fans are satisfied that you have led the club to a slightly higher league position than Barcelona. No, not gonna tell you anything about that. They're annoyed though that I didn't win the league. We only qualified for the Champions League. I think, hear me out, that the Barcelona fans, not the Barcelona fans, the Real Madrid fans, that maybe that's why they hate me. I keep thinking I'm playing for Barcelona. I think the Real Madrid fans just don't like me as a person, which is completely understandable.